Hey, what's up, students? This is episode number 2 of Testimony Tuesday, and today we have Dawson the Tomb
Glad to be here.
hanging out with us. And so we're going to hear his testimony this evening and just get to know him a little bit better. So, Dawson, take it away, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. First of all, I'm really glad to be here. Everyone says this. Everyone's testimony is unique in some way, but me growing up, it was a little unique. Growing up, I grew up with only a father. My mother died when I was really young, which caused a lot of problems in our family, a lot of confusion. But even besides that, my dad being a single dad, I had 2 sisters and a brother, and he still chose to take us to South Africa, where we spent 5 years all together in Africa on the mission field. And that time was a very hard transition for me. Just going into a society that I'd never been, totally different. It was culture shock on multiple levels, and it caused a lot of anger and frustration inside me. It wasn't a decent home life, but through that all, my dad being a missionary, I was exposed to a lot of Christian people. I was just confused, like, how do they make it work? How do you withstand life pressures and still move forward in a godly way? And it was a tough transition. But besides that, spent 5 years on the mission field. Then we came off the mission field when I was in 9th grade going into 10th. And we moved to Foley, Alabama. And I went and spent a summer with my uncle, which was the best thing that could have happened. He's a God-fearing man, ex-Marine, really a good dude. And he showed me what it looked like to love his wife, to care for his family, to get frustrated and not blow up. And really lived out Christianity. And so, watching him and how he treated his family, it was kind of like my cue. And one night when I was staying at his house, it was late at night, and it was dark by myself. And I'd known about God, but I'd never really accepted him. And I got down on my knees, and I just broke down, started crying. And, I was like, God, just going to give you a chance. So first time I really opened the Bible and really started reading and paying attention to what it said. And I fell in love with the book of Proverbs. And just really absorbed myself in wisdom, and it's changed my life so far. I grew into the wrong crowd when I came back to America in the 9th and 10th grade. And the first thing I remember God told me to do was, hey, I want you to get away from them, spend your lunch alone in the lunchroom reading your Bible, which is a terrible thing to do for your reputation. Terrible. And so, I'm alone. I'm the weirdo reading my Bible at the lunch table. But
Let me know, at this point, did you have friends saying, hey, come sit with me, sit with me?
Definitely. All my old crowd, the guys getting drunk on the weekend, all the guys, doing all the crazy stuff they shouldn't, would come on, man. We know you're trying to be a good person, but, man, come on, live a little, and I was I was saying no. And it was horrible. It was my worst time of the day, but looking back, it was God gently tearing away my old life, my old friends. And then he took it a step further. One day, after, everyone's leaving the lunchroom, there's trash all over the floor. He says, hey, I want you to start picking up the trash on the way out. And I was like, oh, this is crazy. Now I'm a really weird, Christian kid. And so, but I started picking up the trash after lunch, just before class would start, next period. And I remember God was teaching me humility. God was teaching me servanthood. God was teaching me to put others first. And, I had a lot of need in my life before I came to Christ. I had a need to be good at athletics, but I always struggled. I went from injury to injury. I had a need to be accepted, but my friend group was always harsh and never really accepted me. I had a need for a lot of things, honestly. And God, when I came to Christ and started putting him first in obedience in these things, met every single one of these needs. First of all, I joined the cross-country team and made state. First time I'd ever done that. I didn't have any injuries. I was doing really well. He gave me more friends than I could count that accepted me for who I was and loved me for who I was. Good Christian friends who were actually an influence for the good. It's true that bad company corrupts good morals. So, yeah, and then he really finally, the biggest thing was he changed my heart, from the inside out. So, yeah, man, the rest is history. So, yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. Something that stood out to me that interests me at the very beginning of your testimony, you said you went to South Africa and you said that you still felt like it was really hard to resist these pressures. But I think a lot of times we think, you go to these, I don't know if that's a third world country. Is that considered?
Yeah, it's considered.
Maybe.
Yeah, getting there.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But I think, we think we get out of the United States and we don't, they don't face temptation, right? I think you think. they're just they just struggle in different
Yeah.
countries, but they don't truly face temptations. But you say that's completely not
Yeah,
true.
honestly,
Just like
like
the U.S.
different regions have different struggles because I believe there's different demonic principalities that are there trying to like mess with them. Definitely, the temptations are not the same, but they're still prevalent, they're still potent, and they're still there. So yeah, different struggles, but still struggles wherever you go around the world. Moving won't change that. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's pretty interesting, man. There was something else that stood out to me too, um, and it was whenever you said that you came back to the United
Yeah.
States, and then you said that your friends kind of made you feel like an outcast.
Yeah.
But I would imagine when you moved to South Africa, you also felt like an outcast.
Yeah.
And so, but whenever you gave your life to Christ, it started. Even though your whole life, kind of leading up to that, you probably kind of felt like misplaced a little bit, but then you felt included.
Yeah, it was weird. It's everyone wants that social acceptance, but we try to chase after the thing itself, when actually social acceptance is a byproduct of chasing after God. So when you chase after God, the right social acceptance, the right people automatically gravitate towards you. So if we put our priorities first, seek first the kingdom of heaven, and everything else will be added to you. Like everything else comes in time. It's really just putting God first and just on that journey learning that. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Thank you, man.
Yeah,
Appreciate
man.
you opening
Glad to
up
be
and
here.
sharing your
Thank you for
testimony.
having
Hey,
me.
thanks for viewing this Testimony Tuesday again, and we'll see you shortly.